Okay, awesome. Thank you everybody for joining. Before we get started, I just wanted to do a quick little intro for this actual presentation. So as you all know, the Honors College and the Office of Global Learning are super close. We do so many things together. A lot of our requirements and our students overlap, and we're always doing a bunch of different activities with the Global Learning Office, and I love everything that they do. So today's Honors Hour is really going to be talking about how you can find these different opportunities with Global Learning to really like pursue your passions, to really recognize your purpose. And we're going to be hearing straight from students who have been doing that themselves. So I'm really excited. But if you do want to hear a little bit more in depth, some experiences, some opportunities that you might want to look into, I would really recommend you check out our podcast, More Than a Major. Today, literally today, this morning, we put out an episode with Sabrina, who's going to be on the student panel that you're going to hear from in a second. Sabrina and another student named Jennifer, and they're talking about their internship with the State Department and their congressional internship, and a bunch of other opportunities and involvements that they've done as a part of FIU, like UN Women. So if you want to hear about that, definitely check out the podcast we put out today. We also have a podcast with Yenny herself, where we talk about, her path after college, how she got to where she is today, and all the different opportunities you can take advantage of as a part of global learning. So if you want to check that out, that's also up. That's a few episodes ago, but if you just look up the podcast, you'll be able to scroll and see Yenny's episode. And I also, right before we jump in, I wanted to give Eric Feldman from FIU in DC a few seconds to talk about his the fly-ins that are coming up. They are also in the emails that we sent out. So if Eric says something that really intrigues you, or you want to tell a friend about one of the fly-ins, if you go to some of our FYIs, we've been sending those out to you as well, so you can get some more info. Click those links as well. But yeah, Eric, whenever you want to jump in and talk about the fly-ins that are coming up, and anything else you'd want to say about FIU in DC, feel free.
Awesome. Thanks, Enrique. I'll keep it short and sweet. Our website, FlyIn.fiu.edu, is constantly up to date with whatever 3-day fly-in policy seminars that are currently open for applications. The one that's currently open for applications right now is called The Future of Environmental Resilience for Economic Growth and National Security. So any students who care about the environment should be applying for that one. It'll also explore how it intersects with the economy and national security. FlyIn is a 3-day program that involves interactions with Congress, federal agencies, companies, advocacy groups, think tanks, etc. And I look forward to people checking out that link. I can be reached at ericf@fiu.edu with any questions. And if people don't know about what FIU in Washington, D.C., after exploring that FlyIn page, click around to other parts of our websites for resources on internships and everything else that we do here in the nation's capital.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to Yenny and the student panelists from the Global Learning Office, so we can just get started with this and kick off the Honors Hour. So whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name, for those of you who don't know me, is Yenny Lady Simon. I go by Yenny, and I am the program manager over at the Office of Global Learning Initiatives at FIU. I have the pleasure of having a student panel today with me. These are students that are quite involved with the Office of Global Learning Initiatives, but also have been involved with the Honors College and with FIU in DC. So we have really a variety of experiences that they're going to be sharing with you today that hopefully will guide you or provide some kind of inspiration as you move forward with this semester. Really quickly about the Office of Global Learning Initiatives. It's an office that, well, for one, is the one that makes every single student at FIU have to take 2 global learning courses to be able to graduate from the university. But also, we provide a set of co-curricular activities to help you secure high impact internships, fellowships, study abroad opportunities, pair you with a mentor to do research, connect you with student clubs and organizations, and just support you throughout your career as you understand and learn more about global citizenship, but also as you understand how you could make a difference both in your community and beyond. The requirements for the Global Learning Medallion program in particular, which is a graduation distinction that you receive at the end of your time at FIU, which is you receive an actual physical medallion, which now we have been mailing to students because of COVID-19. But also with that, you get a graduation ceremony where we celebrate your accomplishments. And what you need to complete that program is instead of 2 global learning courses, 4 global learning courses, which for honor students is actually pretty easy to do. Most of you have 8 or 9 or 10 global learning courses. You also need to collect 20 activity points, and those you get through participating in events like the one today, or our Tuesday Times roundtables that we host every Tuesday, or other events that happen on campus through SIPA, through Women's Center, through the Social Justice Office. There's just a variety of ways of getting those points, to include if you have leadership positions within student clubs and organizations on campus. The third requirement is that you complete a capstone project. So what I mentioned before, internships, globally focused fellowships, research projects, a language study capstone. All of those options are available for the students, and we help you secure those if you are not sure where to find them. We connect you with FIU in DC if you're interested in doing an internship in Washington, DC. There's just a lot of different ways of pursuing those interests within the program. And lastly, we asked you to complete an e-portfolio, which is a website where you put together all those experiences and try to make sense of your growth, of what you learned, and what kind of contributions you want to make in this world just moving forward. So I would highly recommend that you check it out. It's you sign up for it. If you don't complete it, there's not a penalty associated with it. It doesn't go into your transcripts or anything like that, but it does give you access to a lot of opportunities, networking, funding. Our office offers 2 scholarships for our students. It has funding of up to $2,000 for student projects through our Global Learning Fellowship. So there's just a lot of ways of taking advantage of what we have to offer. But I know I'm trying to sell you this, but I think a better job of convincing you why you should take a look is through our student panelists today. So welcome Sabrina Pecorelli, Quincy Gordon, and Maria Camas. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to invite you to first tell us a little bit about who you are, your major, what year you're in, and some type of fun hobby that you have been practicing. Sabrina, can I get started with you?
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Sabrina Pecorelli. I'm a senior at FIU, and I'm majoring in international relations and political science with a certificate in Middle Eastern studies. A hobby I've taken up recently is kickboxing. It's very good for stress relief.
Awesome, thank you. Maria, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Maria Camas. I'm pursuing a dual degree in biological sciences and natural and applied science. And a hobby of mine is playing the keyboard and singing. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of that during the quarantine.
And last but not least, Quincy.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so my name is Quincy Gordon. I'm from the Bahamas. My major is liberal studies with health and human concern track, and a certificate in African diaspora studies. I'm a senior, and a hobby I've been doing a lot more seriously is cooking. And also I collect vinyl, so.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. That is, I actually did not know about that. So I love learning a lot of new things about my students when I have them in panels. So the first question, and just for the students that are here today participating, we have prepared some questions to get the conversation started, but we really want to hear from you. So we have allocated time for you to ask questions. You can send them in the chat. We invite you to even if you cannot have your camera on, to share your thoughts while we have the panel going on. The first question is, I know you all have stepped out of your comfort zones in the pursuit of experiences that are challenging, that might have looked intimidating at the beginning when you thought about them, but that turned out to be quite rewarding and also really helped you figure out your purpose or put you closer to that vision of what do you want to do, who do you want to be. How did you go about taking that first step? How did you navigate any difficulties along the way in stepping out of your comfort zones and pursuing these experiences? Somebody wants to get started, or do I just?
Maria? I can start, yeah. I would just say it all started with an email I got a newsletter from Global Learning, and it was regarding research. And I just wanted to get immersed into kind of like cross-cultural interactions. I was a biology major, but I was always really interested in the humanities and specifically history. So I decided to kind of venture out of like my traditional course of study and pursue this biological research project that I'm doing with Dr. Ortega over at the Biological Sciences Department. And I feel like the one thing, like the piece of advice I would give to students is to really be ambitious and like be open-minded and like don't close yourself off to a specific branch of studying. Research is not all about, you know, being in a wet lab. It could also be different types of research. So it's really important to just step outside of the box and look at those emails and don't like delete them or put them as spam. Make sure to read through them.
Thank you, Maria. Quincy, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Well, since we're talking about how it all started, I think for me, it definitely started with food. Well, some free food that was offered at the Tuesday Roundtable. But it was such a warm experience when I went in there. You know, I met Florencia, and it was such a welcoming experience that I stayed and I kept coming back every week from Tuesday from then on. So, you know, don't be afraid to like, you know, maybe walk in on a session that you're not really sure about. Um, and that's also, you know, with piggybacking off looking at your emails now because things are more with Zoom. And yeah, and just don't be afraid to do stuff before you like over process it. And that's, you know, analysis paralysis can be a thing. And yeah.
Sabrina, thank you, Quincy.
Okay, so I very much agree with the whole email thing. I thoroughly read every email that Honors College, that Global Learning sends out, and you can find even the most random of opportunities just hidden there. So definitely like keep an eye on those. For me, I had an internship with the Department of State. It was a virtual internship over the summer. It was the height of quarantine. And I guess it all kind of just came to be out of luck. My supervisor for the internship was my supervisor in a research class that I was doing called Diplomacy Lab. If you have the chance to take Diplomacy Lab with the Honors College, I highly recommend it. And this supervisor asked me if I wanted to stay on with her and keep like doing research with her and keep going as an internship. And I mean, I agreed. And I was also thrown into the space of being the student leader. And it all kind of gets started because it was also a little bit out of luck. But I kind of rose up to the challenge and I accepted the leadership position that I didn't think I was ready for, but I ended up excelling in it. So it's definitely about seizing the opportunities, even if they don't seem like they're good enough for you or like you're not good enough for them. Yeah.
Thank you, Sabrina. I appreciate that you elaborated a little bit more on that internship and acknowledging that while you felt that you weren't ready to just took it on. And I know that it has paid off over time. We know that. Maria, in your case, can you talk a little bit more about the research fellowship and sort of the challenges along the way or what you learned about yourself throughout that process? Because I know it was a little bit of a non-traditional methodology, but now you're a published author, you have 2 articles out. Tell us more about that experience.
So the whole experience, okay, so the title of the research revolves around David Fairchild of the famous Botanical Garden and his expedition to the Lesser Antilles in 1932, which might sound a little boring to some of you in the audience, but I promise that when you're going through botanical history documents that pertain to South Florida, you sort of feel a connection to your roots in a sense, right? I'm from Miami, so I definitely felt like that traditional aspect. So in terms of the experience, it was like cataloging specimens, data, going through pictures, reading the travel logs, getting a sense as to both, I guess, like the qualitative and quantitative aspect of this research expedition. And luckily enough, I was able to, have these 2 publications out of just a really good, but like out of this whole mentorship relationship that I developed. And also I was able to present at your FIU last semester. And I think the best part of everything is to just grow as an individual and realize that you're capable of doing it and that you're good enough for these types of things. So yeah, like the fellowship was, given to me by the Global Learning Department, and I was able to gain many fruitful things from it, which I'm so grateful for. And now I feel confident to pursue more research endeavors in the future.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Maria. And I think it's important just to remind students that there are a myriad of ways in which we can pursue those passions or those things that intrigue us. And in your example, you were doing, that's why I wanted you to elaborate a little bit more, because I know you were doing archival reviews and sort of another way of looking at science. Quincy, tell us a little bit more about the transformation contest, because I know that was an interesting experience, and what's happened afterwards, and in what ways it helped you elucidate new sort of information about who you are, about what you want, but also about how you navigate new experiences.
Yeah, definitely. So, as a part of the transformation contest, you had to like submit some form of artistic work or, through whichever medium. And I was pretty private with my writing, but I love to travel, and I also wanted to understand a little bit more about American government, coming from the Bahamas, and so gain a little bit more knowledge on that. So the transformation contest was a perfect opportunity to do that. So I just looked at my fear, my love of travel and wanting to understand more outweighed the fear of, exposing myself through my writing or what's not. So definitely be able to look into once I'm like, hey, well, it's worth it, So I just thought it was a great opportunity to do so. And also reflect. That's one thing I forgot to mention earlier is I'm really big on reflection. I was a part of the International Baccalaureate Diploma in high school, and that's one of the components. So just don't be afraid to like understand yourself as to why you did do something, why you didn't apply yourself to the situation, and be able to identify those issues and try to find a way to fix it. Yeah.
Now, I know that those opportunities and exposing yourself and putting yourself out there actually created additional paths for you, right? It opened up new doors of other opportunities. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of that? You opened one door and then more kept opening for you. Would you like to share with the audience today how that happened, and how did those experiences complement some other of your interests? Anyone? Quincy, you want to go back?
No, no. I was saying, yeah. I was saying I don't think Sabrina answered the last question. I'm not sure. Sorry.
You're not sure if Sabrina answered the last question?
Yeah.
She did at the beginning, so that's why.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. I was just making sure everyone's.
Yeah. Thank you.
So anyway, so I guess I'm talking now. As for the connection, yeah, I was introduced to a lot more people, and I learned more about like politics, and I understood myself more in the sense that I enjoy social justice and law. So after the program, I did more research in like the different programs that FIU offers in the law school. So I was able to become a part of mock trial, and we're actually competing next week in regionals. So we're super excited, doing a lot of training on that. And I would definitely recommend anyone who's interested in law to become part of the team, Yeah, that's me.
So Quincy, that was after what? After the FlyIn?
Yes, after the FlyIn. The FlyIn was awesome in introducing us to different aspects of the government. You know, we had someone speak from Oxfam and their fight against poverty and injustice. And, you know, I just found that to be so interesting and fulfilling. And I'm so thankful to Eric for all the hard work he put into it that you clearly get out of it. It was the first time virtual, but it seems seamless. So.
Thank you. I just wanted to provide a little bit of context because for some of us who understand or know the connection between the experiences, it's clear. But for the rest of us, is the Office of Global Learning has this transformation contest. You can submit a piece, an artistic piece. It could be an essay. It could be poetry. It could be a podcast, a song, whatever it is. And the winners are selected to do an FIU-NDC FlyIn, which, like you said, went virtual, but still it's a 3-day full of programming with speakers that work in Washington, D.C., in different spheres in the government, nonprofit. And so you get a sense of what happens in the nation's capital. And then that led you to law and the mock trials and all of that. So that's fantastic. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit of how all of these pieces kind of connect with each other. Thank you, Quincy, for sharing that. Maria or Sabrina?
So on the topic of, opening up new opportunities, I wanted to talk about, so I also did the transformation contest. I did it in 2018. It was my freshman year of college. And I wrote a poem. And I didn't win the actual transformation contest, but the Office of Global Learning really liked my poem, and it's been read at a couple of different graduations. I actually had the honor of reading my own poem at the Millennium Fellowship graduation that was in December. And so it kind of just goes to show that even if you don't get the opportunity, even if you might not get into whatever you're trying to apply for, there's always different things that might come out of it. And so I thought it was a great experience. I might have not won, but I had the chance to, follow through with my poem and read it at different places. And, people had a chance to listen to my words. So it was definitely incredible.
Thank you, Sabrina. Maria, you want to add something?
Yeah, so going back to what you were saying about opening new doors and opportunities. So the LAC research I started conducting in my freshman year, and that was definitely the catalyst to get more involved with global learning in general. So after that, I did start to go to more Tuesday Times roundtables, and I also decided to apply to the Millennium Fellowship. I was always really interested in biology and STEM fields, so I wanted to tackle gender equality in STEM fields and create a project. And Yenny guided me here to this Millennium Fellowship, and I was selected with Sabrina and a couple of more amazing people for the 2020 Millennium Fellowship class. And in general, and related to the research, I did get involved with ARCH. Last semester, I did do the ARCH proposal track, and I was able to expand a bit more on my initial research. So definitely the LAC research broadened my college experience. And now I'm in my last semester, and I feel really, confident, capable of being able to do these extracurricular activities.
Thank you, Maria. For context, again, the Millennium Fellowship, which the applications are open right now for any of you who are interested. And I think actually there are a couple of people here in the audience that I've talked to about it. It's a program by the Millennium Campus Network and the United Nations Academic Impact that selects a group of students around the world to work on projects addressing the Sustainable Development Goals. And you submit a project proposal, and then if you get accepted as a cohort of students, so FIU has been doing this for the past 2 years, we have had a a cohort on campus. They get together in the fall semester, have leadership development sessions every week or every 2 weeks, but they also collaborate with other students, both on campus and internationally, to put together a project to bring about social change in whatever aspect you are passionate about. And then there are additional opportunities for funding. So I know a lot of the fellows from the fall semester are now applying to other fellowship opportunities to get more financial support to continue expanding their projects. So I know Maria this semester, even though she graduated from the fellowship in the fall, she's trying to put together an international sort of panel to host it virtually this spring semester. So there are always ways to continue kind of expanding on these opportunities. I invite you to start thinking about questions for the panelists, but I also want to ask, and I love asking this question to student panels, do you have concrete advice? I think all of you have shared very inspiring stories, but concretely, when the students log off from this Zoom call today, what can they do to take a step forward towards finding their purpose, having the courage to reach out? Some words of wisdom, which I know you all have a lot to share.
Okay, so for me, I think the biggest thing is kind of trying to understand what you want to do, and like researching, and I'm very big on trial and error. So, I mean, unless you are 100% sure in what you want to do in life, which I don't think is a lot of us, you're gonna have to go through opportunities and through different experiences to figure out what you like and what you don't like. And so, for example, last year, I had a congressional internship, and it was an amazing internship. It was great. But the biggest thing that it taught me was that I did not want to be involved in domestic politics. I didn't want to work in Congress. And so, and then I got the State Department internship, but that one dealt with more of like environmental issues in Latin America. And that taught me that that's not really what I wanted to kind of involve myself with. And now I'm a Hamilton Scholar with FIU in DC, and I have an internship that is focused around what I want to do. It's around, yes, Eric put the link in the chat, definitely highly recommend it. It's a leadership program offered by FIU in DC. And yeah, and so I have an internship now where I'm a content writer for a Middle East platform, and I'm doing a Middle Eastern certificate. So I kind of found what I wanted to do. So again, it's more about trial and error, trying to see where you fit in and where you feel more comfortable. And I think applications are a numbers game. So if I were you, I would apply to everything. And then, you know, you see if you don't get in, then you just get more comfortable with rejection. And if you do get in, you get an amazing experience out of it.
Thank you, Sabrina. And let me just, before I allow Maria and Quincy to also share their thoughts, something that I think as Eric put in the chat that is quite important sometimes, and Sabrina, you were talking about this, you apply and you don't get necessarily the opportunity, but the staff that works at FIU that is so committed to helping students, we get to know who you are. And so maybe you were not ideal for this opportunity, but we think about you for other opportunities that come our way. I oftentimes tell my students, you need to let me know what you're doing, so that then when opportunities to nominate you for fellowships or scholarships or whatever, then I know what you're doing and I know that you're deserving of that. So just also be strategic about sharing what you feel comfortable sharing with us, so that then we can continue to support you and expose you to other opportunities that might be a better fit. So that's something that I wanted to share. And Eric, please remind me to circle back after Quincy and Maria share their thoughts to talk a little bit about Hamilton and what it offers outside the internship scope. Maria, do you want to share an advice, something concrete that they can do right this second? I mean, not this second, but right after they log off.
So 2 things: discover your interests and find mentors, like find the appropriate people that will guide you to these opportunities. And I just want to be as concise as possible.
Thank you, Maria. Quincy?
Yes, I definitely feel that you can self-reflect, definitely understanding yourself as best as you can, is a key point in making sure you can follow your dreams.
Thank you so much. I oftentimes, when I'm in the office with students or through Zoom lately, they ask me, how do I go about finding a mentor, right? Like, how do I even ask? Have you ever had to ask somebody, like, what's your, and I know some of these questions I'm just now coming out because of the things you're saying. Have you had to ask somebody, would you mentor me for my research, or would you help me find a mentor, or how does that work in your experience?
Okay, so for me, at least, I've had a lot of different mentors throughout FIU, like throughout my time in college, and they've all kind of taken a different part of my life. Some of them came more naturally. A professor, for example, last year, a professor really liked one of the pieces that I wrote for his class. He asked me if I wanted to publish it, so we edited it and we published it in Charged Affairs, in the Young Professionals in Foreign Policy's Charged Affairs. And now because of that, I'm writing a second op-ed to be published. Some other professors, you have to kind of be more direct and you kind of have to go up to them, but make sure that it's somebody that knows what you want, or at least you let them know what you want, and it's someone who's willing to help. I feel like most people usually are, but it makes it a lot easier if, you know, they're excited about things, they'll share opportunities with you, or they'll keep you in mind if there's opportunities present. And definitely meeting with people like Yenny, it really helps with advisors just in general. They can kind of direct you. I met with an advisor my freshman year of FIU, and she's the one who directed me about FIU in DC. I had no idea it even existed. And so it's kind of just networking and meeting people who kind of may direct you in like a different path or towards different people.
Thank you so much. Unless Quincy and Maria want to share something about this question, do either one of you?
Yes, I would say don't be afraid to connect with people on LinkedIn. You know, it served me well with finding mentors in like those who are going to graduate school or in different career opportunities. Also, like Sabrina said, use your professors. You know, go to their office hours because they can connect you with other professors in interest that you're in. Yeah.
Yeah, just agreeing with Quincy and Sabrina, professors are definitely your first mentors. Make sure to get to know them. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Most people are trying to help you. They envision your future, they see themselves in you, right? So make sure to always have that mindset. And everyone at Global Learning is super nice, and they know exactly, like, you tell them your career goals and they'll guide you directly, like, to various opportunities. So definitely Yenny is super kind, and I'm sure everyone here agrees, everyone on the panel. So make sure to find people that you kind of connect with immediately. That whole like clicking, it actually exists. And when you find someone that makes you comfortable, then I think you found your mentor.
That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Eric, I don't want to forget to go back to Hamilton's for a second, just because I think the panelists have mentioned so many opportunities that are really good for our students, and I know Hamilton's is one of them. Can you talk a little bit about what else the program offers outside that internship component?
Yeah, of course. And first and foremost, we support every FIU student and graduate who's looking to get or has a internship in Washington, D.C., including virtual ones. So even if for whatever reason you see the Hamilton page and you are not able to take the course that it is involved with, or to the theme of this conversation, if you apply to the Hamilton Scholars Program and don't get in, please know you still have our full support in finding internships and coming to events that are exclusive to current interns that we host. The Hamilton Scholars Program is a specific program for students looking to intern in DC who are very dedicated to making an impact in a specific policy area, whether that is health, whether that's immigration, whether that's technology. You can show you've worked on this issue before, and you can see how a semester in DC, including virtually for now, would help you with that. So in addition to our VIP support with finding and getting an internship, it also includes a course with only other Hamilton scholars that really exposes you to how policymaking works at the federal level and how policy advocacy, the external organizations that try to influence the government works, and how you can be a successful policy advocate with some enhanced networking and mentorship opportunities through our network here in Washington. So you can check that out at the link I posted earlier. It's open every fall and spring, and also has a scholarship of at least $1,200 and potentially more for those who need support physically relocating.
Thank you, Eric. And something I should mention is that for our students that are applying to all these programs, our office is happy to review applications. If we know you will write a letter of recommendation, we can sort of make sure that you're ready for the programs that have an interview component, that we go over those details as well. And as I'm sure you can see, all of us work very closely together. Eric, there's a question for you in the chat. So I'll let you take a look at that. But I know that at least the environmental one has a deadline of later in the semester, right?
Yeah, the environment one still has about a month left. I'll tell you what, for the Women in Politics one, for a special offer for Global Learning and Honors College friends who took the time to come to this great session today. What the application basically consists of is your resume, why you're interested in the program, and sending me an article related to the topic and what you found interesting about that article. So if you email me those three things, resume, why you're interested in the program, and an article related to the topic and some thoughts on that article. The group interviews for the people who did apply, who knew about it earlier, are going to be 3 or 4 p.m. tomorrow. So if you send it to me in advance of that and block off one of those times, I'll forward you, and tell me if you prefer 3 or 4 p.m. I'll forward you an invite to one of those group interviews once I have that email.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. I think you just make it very sort of palpable why kind of taking the time to go to events and ask the question and have the courage to just put it out there pays off. So Melanie, you go ahead and send Eric that information. Enrique, you had a question for our panelists before we open it up to our audience.
Hello. Yes, I do. I have a quick question. But one quick thing I wanted to say. I know I'm not part of the panel, but one quick thing that I wanted to say about the mentor, finding a mentor, or all the, just to add on to the great advice that the panelists already gave. I'd say just get coffee with absolutely everybody. Like, ask people to go get coffee with you or to grab lunch, whether that's a faculty member, somebody you look up to, somebody you think is cool, somebody that you want to have their job, and even when you do get these internships, wherever you may be, do the same thing over there. I think that's one of the best things that I had ever done, and it just helps you, it even just helps you figure out, what you don't like and what you don't want to do. So I would definitely say that as a tip myself. But question for the panelists, it's kind of a two-part question, because me, when it comes to internships and kind of this subject, something that I always think about is like the way that I felt when I was maybe a freshman or a sophomore, before I had really started looking into internships, or and so first part of the question is, what would you say to maybe some students that are kind of hesitant or maybe like a little bit scared just with the concept of like, starting an internship, especially because internships, the purpose is for you to learn, but it could be like a really daunting thing to start looking into, or to, go into an office for the first time and have like a task, so what would you say about students, to students who might be a little bit hesitant because of like, because you don't have so much experience when you're a freshman, sophomore, and also, through the variety of the internships you guys have all done, what would you say are some, some things that you've learned positively and some things that you've learned that, that maybe could be seen as like a negative, because there's always that give and take when you're doing these internships. There's things that you learn that might be good, that might be bad. So I'd like to hear about those experiences too in your internships.
Or let me just say, because some of them might have done fellowships instead. So if you want to
yes,
relate it to that, because it's also daunting. But Sabrina, I think all eyes are on you right now.
So the question, the second one.
I'm so sorry. I just threw so much at you. Answer whichever part you feel in your heart, whatever you want to answer.
Okay, so the second one talked about like good things and bad things in internships. So it was actually interesting. I've had an in-person internship with a congresswoman, and I've had a virtual State Department internship, and there were things that I liked about both and things I didn't like about both. I personally really like the in-person kind of vibes. I like just being able to socialize and to talk to the people. I got to meet Congresswoman Donna Shalala, which was super cool. So I really like the kind of the in-person office vibe, but the virtual kind of setting, it allowed me to do a lot more. That is for sure. That is something that I learned, especially in quarantine. The virtual internship allowed me to be in 3 different places at once with 3 different screens. It allowed me to be more productive, be more creative, and learn a lot faster because it was all kind of on my time. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yes, definitely. I was I was getting to that kind of like, because like internships are also for you to learn what you like or what you don't like. So maybe some experiences that you were like, oh, maybe I don't like that much. Maybe I do like this part a lot, So just kind of getting to that. So you definitely answered the question.
Yeah,
the multiple part question.
The congressional internship, again, I realized I didn't want to work with Congress. I mean, again, I was just an intern. I was filing papers and writing letters to constituents. But as I looked at what the caseworkers did or what the other people did, I thought it was super amazing. And I thought it was very necessary because they were helping the community. But for my interests, I just realized that it wasn't something that got me super, super excited. And I realized that I prefer focusing my attention on like international issues. So.
Thank you so much. Quincy or Maria, you can share your thoughts, but also I want to invite the people here today to ask questions. This is a really good opportunity to put into practice what we have been talking about today. So if you want to get in camera and ask your questions, or you want to send them via the chat, but just take advantage. We have a few more minutes to talk to the panelists and to talk amongst ourselves and share some thoughts about what you learned today, what you want to learn. And also, I want to hear about future plans. And I know I did not give you a heads up on this one, and 2 of you are graduating, but I would love to know what's coming up for you all. And I think, Quincy, you gave us a little bit of an idea, but feel free to elaborate on that while I get people gathering the courage to ask the questions.
Okay, I guess I'll go. So in terms of future plans, I'm doing my Hamilton internship. Yes. So I was reading the chat, but so this semester I'm going to be completing the Hamilton Scholars internship that is still virtual that I have. And then so over the summer, I'm planning on doing the critical language scholarship and going to learn Arabic in Morocco. I am a semi-finalist for the CLS, so I'm waiting to hear a full response in a couple months, and obviously COVID permitting. But that's the plan right after I graduate. And then I'm looking into grad school through fellowships like the Wrangell Fellowship. Ideally in 2 years, I go to Georgetown with the Wrangell Fellowship, but again, it's just, we'll see how it goes.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you. Maria, you want to tell us? I'm going to put you on the spot. What's the plan?
Yeah, of course. I didn't mention it before, but I am on the pre-med track. So this summer is just going to be studying for that MCAT. I do plan on getting involved with either like public health for the next year, maybe pursuing a master's, I'm unsure right now, and eventually applying to medical school. I definitely want to focus a bit on global health initiatives and maybe work in undeserved areas. So definitely that's the plan right now. Get more clinical experience, more research experience, and just become a better candidate.
Thank you, Maria. Quincy, you stay with me. It's still.
Yes, yes. But nonetheless, I would say that what's in the future is I'm going to continue being a part of Panther mock trial. Another thing I did not mention, but is a wonderful resource for anyone who's pre-law, is FIU Law Path. And Dean Mason is a wonderful coordinator of that. And it's just, the applications are open, check it out. And you take law courses with FIU's law professors during the summertime, and it's for two summer semesters. So I'll be doing the follow-up summer, which perhaps be for the LSAT. Wonderful resources. FIU's law professors are absolutely amazing. So that's kind of what I have right now until I get ready to prepare for the LSAT and law school.
Quincy, can you share the link in the chat if you have it?
Of course. I'll pull it up right now.
So students can check it out. I'm going to stop asking questions now. I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and answering all my questions and kind of highlighting your work. And then anybody in the audience has questions, or Eric, if you have any questions, this is the time to share them. Or Enrique, if you have another question, but you got limited amount of characters.
I have another 5-part question directed straight at the panelists. No, I'm just kidding. I think that they've answered all my questions. But if anybody in the chat would like to, if anybody in the Zoom would like to put a question in the chat or unmute, feel free to do so. Anybody going once, going twice? Well, if you think of anything before we end, Huh? Oh, there's one. Oh,
yeah. This is. I would love to hear an interesting story from an internship. An interesting story.
I have a couple. So first, I got to meet Congresswoman Donna Shalala. She super cool, super cool. We all just sat at the table, all the new interns, with her. And she was just talking about policy, and she was asking us questions, and we could ask her a question about what she was doing in DC. And she was talking about people like Mitch McConnell as if, like they're coworkers. But when I think about Mitch McConnell, it's like this figurehead, this important person in like the Senate or whatever. But she was talking about him like so casually, and I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool experience. And in my other internship in the State Department one, we got to have a virtual meeting with the Assistant Director of the Bureau of Oceans International Environmental Affairs. He was just appointed. He's been a Foreign Service officer for years, for decades, and I want to be a Foreign Service officer, so I thought it was really cool. He was sharing his experience about being deployed in Eastern Europe and in Namibia and all these places. He was talking about all the languages he learned. So I thought it was really cool to kind of just meet these people who are taking the time out of their day to meet with interns and to share their stories. So I thought it was very interesting.
Thank you, Sabrina. Any other interesting stories? Or Eric, have you heard about any funny stories? You work with a lot of interns in DC, so I imagine a lot of awkward moments as well, if you have any to share.
Sorry
to put you on the spot. I remember I lived in DC as well, and I just had my fair share of you know, walking into a building next to somebody super important and having no idea who that person was. And then everybody's freaking out. Did you say hi? Did you get an autograph? And I'm like, I had no idea that was such and such. So
I mean, this is me, not an intern. This is me as an FIU DC employee at a random event at the Croatian embassy for some sort of Croatian holiday, and I forgot what country. This was like a year and a half ago, but I was trying to do my best at networking, and went up to somebody who was just kind of in the corner of the room alone. And I have to admit, I used to operate under the now false assumption that somebody who was not talking to someone at a reception must not be that important. It didn't stop me from going and saying hi, because it's the easy target to talk to someone in a crowded room. But I went up and introduced myself, and he was the ambassador of some country to the U.S., not the staff member to embassy, but like the ambassador. And also have a firm handshake. This is even less of a DC thing, but in case you ever shake Mark Rosenberg's hand, it's relevant to DC because this happened in DC, but we once got an email from President Rosenberg to work on a certain DC intern's handshake after he shook that student's hand.
that's such
firm,
a
firm confident handshake.
Well, not to worry about that during the pandemic, but most definitely funny. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you. Well, I don't have any more questions, Enrique. I will be wrapping this up, but unless somebody has any more questions, I put in the contact for our office and my email. I think Eric did the same, and well, everybody here knows Enrique. And do we have any final announcements? I do want to say, Quincy referenced at the beginning the attracting students with food. We used to do that very well on Tuesdays at 12:30 for our Tuesday Times Roundtable. It's the partnership we have with the New York Times. We discuss relevant topics that are related to a New York Times article. We bring amazing speakers. We used to give the students food. Now we're still doing the Tuesday Times Roundtables online. Students are actually loving the experience. So back to Sabrina mentioning how the online space can work really well. And our guest of honor tomorrow is Enrique. So we're super excited to have you, right? It's tomorrow, right?
Yep, tomorrow. Super excited.
What are you doing? Tell the students so they can all head there tomorrow.
Yes, so it's all on my honors. I will also say that every single Tuesday Times Roundtable that you attend, you will get an attendance point for. So don't just come to the one tomorrow, go to all of them. They're all incredible. I've seen some really, really, inspiring talks, through Global Learning's Tuesday Times Roundtable. So please make sure to go out to them. They're awesome. And you get, honors credit. So that's really cool. But yes, tomorrow, if you guys heard, I hope that you all heard about the Our Stories project that we put out right before winter break started. But basically, tomorrow I'm going to be doing a Tuesday Times Roundtable with another professor from the Modern Languages Department, Andrea Fanta, and from the Wolfsonian. And we're going to be talking about photographic storytelling and the Our Stories Summer 2020 project that we did over the summer at the start, kind of like right in the middle of the beginning of all this with COVID, where we sent students disposable cameras to kind of document their life during the pandemic and document what they're going through. They wrote a reflection, and then they came on a podcast and talked to us about their pictures, their experience, everything that they went through. So we're going to be talking about basically what a photograph is. We're going to be talking about why it's important to tell stories through pictures, and we're going to be talking about how you can be part of the next cohort if you would like to apply to be part of the next cohort of students to receive a disposable camera and kind of tell us your story through this crazy time we're living in. So come tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, and make sure to go to all of the other TTRs that you can possibly go to because they're incredible. And yeah, and then if anybody has any other questions for the panelists before we wrap up, we'd love to hear them. We'll give you one more shot. But if not, I'll give you a second. Everybody good? No question? Everybody's awesome. Work on your handshakes, like Eric said. And besides that, thank you all so much for coming, Yenny, and to all of the panelists. Thank you so much, Quincy, Sabrina, and Maria. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for always giving us, some incredible advice. Make sure to check out Sabrina's podcast that came out today with another one of our students, Jennifer, also talking about the State Department and the congressional internship that they did. Quincy, I think you were trying to say something. You wanted to say something? Oh, okay. I thought you had your hand up. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining. Be safe. Have a good rest of your day. And if you have any questions, make sure to email me at erosl@fiu.edu. Follow us on Instagram, to stay up to date with the other events that we have coming up for the rest of the semester. And besides that, be safe, everyone. Okay. So thank you so much, Yenny, and Global Learning. We love you so much. You guys are incredible.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, everybody. And feel free to send questions if something comes up later on, or if you get motivated to take that step later on, we're here for you.
Yes, definitely. You have their contact info in the chat.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Be safe.
Bye.
Make sure to get that contact info before you go.